Most bridal stylists think that the bridal trial is just about the hairstyle, but the way you structure your trial is actually what determines whether the bride books you or not. Today I am going to walk you through exactly how I run my bridal trial so they convert into confirmed bookings and run smoothly on the wedding day. Send a consultation form in advance. This saves time and also shows professionalism. Sending a consultation form ahead lets the bride think through her preferences without feeling rushed in person. I always ask about the venue and also the wedding vibe. Hairstyles should suit the setting, whether that be a beach wedding, a rustic bar, and also I ask about the bride's aesthetic, whether it's boho, classic or glam. For a boho style, you'll probably be looking at something quite relaxed, soft, braids, as where if a bride is going for a more ballroomy quite sort of style, you would be looking for a nice sleek bun. So it can vary quite a bit. Another important factor to take into consideration within your bridal trial is to confirm timings. Confirming timings prevents stress on the day. Personally for me, I always leave an hour before the ceremony starts. This is because it gets very hectic. There is a lot of people already, potentially in one room, and it just gives the bride that chance to get into her dress, any photos with family members, first looks, anything like that, and potentially just 5 minutes to herself just to kind of take in what's happening, or just a breather, a 5-minute breather. For example, with my timings, if I have a bridal party of 5 and the wedding starts at 1 o'clock, I will then work back from 12 because I would leave an hour before the ceremony. So I usually like to leave about 4 hours for 5 heads. That would give me an 8 a.m. start time. This is where the consultation form becomes important because you'll have all the details of the venue. Now, some venues won't allow access for the bridal party, sometimes from 9 or even some venues 11 a.m. Now obviously if they're getting married at 1-2 o'clock and you can't get into 11 a.m, that's not going to work. So most of the time the brides either start getting ready at home or rent an Airbnb, or sometimes the venue have a little Airbnb on site that they can stay into, and then we pack up and then move across. So you do have to allow for the timing of that. I have done weddings before where it's been a half an hour journey between the home and the venue. So you do need that information to be able to work out your correct timing. Always have honest conversations with your bride, especially if they've got fine hair. Things like longevity, volume, weather impacts, and sometimes they may need extensions, or sometimes they bring extensions and try them and realise it's definitely not for them. If something didn't work, then kindly say something like, with your hair density, we'll get softness and movement, but for that ultra bridal bun, I'd recommend some extension. This way it builds trust between you and the bride. A trial should never feel like improvisation. It should feel structured, intentional, calm and expert-led. When a bride walks in, it's useful for you to already know her dress, her venue, her vibe and her concern. You're not trying hairstyles, you're curating her bridal look. During the trial, before you even touch a brush, step back and assess. You need to assess length versus width of the face, jaw softness, or structure, forehead proportion and cheekbone prominence. Then adjust crown height, volume at the sides, softness around the face, center versus side parting. You're creating balance, not just a style. When you explain this to the bride, she feels guided, not judged. Consider the neckline of the wedding dress. Necklines can completely change the energy of a hairstyle. Strapless, soft waves or lifted updos elongate beautifully. High neck often works best with hair up to avoid heaviness. Off the shoulder, romantic texture balances exposed shoulders. A deep V neckline, height at the crown enhances elegance. Hair should always frame the neckline, not compete with it. Assess the bride's hair density. Is it fine, thick, medium density, but it's very slippy? Because this determines the size of the bun, the amount of teasing that's needed, whether extensions are needed, and how much structure you can realistically achieve. If you say confidently to your bride, with your density, this is how we'll maximize volume. This again will build trust between you both. Make sure you plan for longevity. A trial isn't just about how it looks in your chair. It's about potentially a 10 a.m. ceremony, 2 p.m. photos, 7 p.m. dancing. Ask questions like, is the venue humid? Will she be outside? And is she a hair toucher? That's quite important. With this information, you can then adjust pin structure, product layering, texture versus polish, design it for durability, not just aesthetics. Always discuss veil placement. This will change the structure of the style completely. You need to clarify, is the veil being placed under the bun, above the bun, a cathedral veil or a fingertip veil, and is it being removed after the ceremony? Your pin placement should feel intentional, never last minute. Once the veil is in, you should check for comfort. Ask the bride, does the style and the veil feel secure? Is it too tight? Is there too much volume, not enough, or just right? And is she comfortable turning her head? A bride who feels physically comfortable radiates confidence. So here comes the conversion moment. This is where most stylists get awkward. Finish the style, take photos, and hope she books. But hope is not a strategy. I finish my trials off confirming the wedding morning timeline. Explain exactly how the morning will run, start time, finish time, buffer, touch-ups, as clarity reduces anxiety. I clearly state how many services I can realistically achieve within that time slot, and then I explain the next steps. So I would say something like, if you would like to secure your date, I'll send you the booking link and contract. Once the deposit is paid, your date is then locked in. Clear, simple, and professional. I don't chase brides, I create clarity. When a bride feels clarity, she books. If you are a bridal hairstylist and you want more authority, better trials, and higher conversion rate, make sure you subscribe and check out my playlist, Bridal Hair Mastery. I'm sharing everything that I'm building inside my bridal business. And if this has helped you, I'd love to know. Pop a comment below. Thank you for watching.